Listen, you know, I dislike sexual assault as much as the next guy.
G'day, it's me again. So a few months ago, I bought a new MacBook Air, and with it came 3 months free of Apple TV Plus. If you don't know what Apple TV Plus is, I assume you're living under a rock. But basically, it's Apple's answer to Netflix and Paramount and Stan and the billion other streaming services out there. And to be honest, I was never that interested in it. There was never anything that I'd see an ad had come up with Apple TV Plus, and I was like, I don't care. But I finally decided to do it because I saw this show, Shrinking, actually, funny enough, on TikTok.
May I help you?
Just looking for a dead plant.
That is not your trash.
Okay, let's start over. So, my name is Sean, and I'm guessing you're Karen?
It's Pam.
Pam, the family knows him. Why don't you go home and post some shit on Nextdoor on how the neighborhood's changing?
He's staying with us, Pam. Are you dropping off some welcome muffins?
Wait, the guy that almost beat someone to death is staying with you? Jimmy, what the fuck are you doing?
It's fine. Alice is cool with it.
No, I'm not, but I agree Pam's a
I'm moving into VA housing.
Hey, you don't owe her an explanation.
Why am I the bad guy?
Liz and I are just trying to protect the neighborhood.
Stop. There's no Liz and I.
You need me over here, babe?
No?
Oh, thank God. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Derek.
Hey, Pam.
Hey. No, there's no hey, Pam. We don't like Pam.
Got it. Eat a dick, Pam.
I like that guy.
And it seemed like a funny show, so I gave it a watch. I haven't finished the entire show, I won't lie, but I think I've got a good grasp on it. I think I've watched enough of it to give some thoughts on it, basically. So Shrinking stars Jason Segel, Segel, as he's like this therapist. He's like this middle-aged therapist. He's recently lost his wife and he's living with his daughter. And his daughter resents him because of the way he's been dealing with his grief, and he's pretty much been ignoring her, which is pretty shitty, I'll admit. And so one day he gets fed up of beating around the bush at work, and he decides that it's time to just tell his patients what to do instead of trying to lead them there. So he tells this one woman to just divorce her husband because he's terrible. He's very verbally abusive and he's a cunt. I feel like that's it. And he gets a new patient referred to him from Sassy Black Friend. Should I know the actors' names? Who cares? No one watches this show. And the patient he gets referred is his name is Sean, played by something Pet, Luke Penny. And I think he's pretty good in the show overall, decent. But it's not the kind of show anyone's gonna win an award for, you know. And so he decides the best way to deal with this patient who has anger issues and just bashes people whenever they annoy him is to take him to be a sparring partner with an MMA fighter. And it ends up working out pretty well. Not really, actually, because he the guy from before whose wife divorced him comes to beat up Jason... What the fuck is it? Jason Segel. And then Sean ends up bashing him. And that gets him kicked out of his mother and father's house. And so Sean, Jason Segel, invites him to live with him. For the time being, at least, until he can find his own place, basically. Harrison Ford is also in this show. I think he's fine. He's just playing Harrison Ford. He's a crotchety old man who doesn't like Star Wars. He's literally me! But if I was Harrison Ford, to be fair, I would be fucking sick of nerds wanting me to talk about Star Wars as well. And, the twist there is that he has Parkinson's, so he's shaking. He's got a bit of It's oncoming, I suppose. And he hasn't told his daughter, who is played by Lily Rabe. You gotta be careful with that last name. Whoosh. Yeah, they're like sort of distant. They don't really know each other that well. She lives in Connecticut and he lives in Pasadena or Philadelphia or something. It's not really important. The show overall is pretty typical for an Apple TV Plus thing. I think it's very flat looking. Everything's incredibly clean. You know, like you see like their house and it's just wiped clean completely. The benches, nothing ever on the bench unless it's important to the character, like they're making breakfast. There might be a frying pan out with like an egg in it and that'll be it. I think the biggest detriment to both the shows I'm talking about today is that they're on Apple TV Plus, and no one uses that shit because there's nothing worth watching on there, quite frankly, except for Foundation, which is great. I'll get to that in a minute. But I feel overall, it's a silly, fun show. You know, not everything needs to break my worldview like Mr. Robot, but it's something you like put on when you're doing something else. Say you're like folding laundry, you can just have it on in the background. You might get a giggle out of it. I don't know. It's decent. Yeah. It's like the kind of show that you put on while you're doing something, and then when you're ready to focus, you'll put on Foundation. If you couldn't tell, I like Foundation a lot more than Shrinking, and that's pretty indicative of just the quality of the shows overall, comparative to each other. But now anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Let's talk about Foundation. Who's in Foundation? I haven't even looked up any of the names. Fuck. So Foundation has a lot of characters, to be honest. It does the kind of the Game of Thrones thing, where there's a lot of characters in different points of the world, different points of the galaxy in this show, which is great. So the main cast is Lou LaBelle as Gail Dornick, Jared Harris as Harry Seldon, and Lee Pace as Brother Day. Leah Harvey as Salvor Hardin, Laura Byrne as Dermazel, and that's what I'm going to get into for now. They're kind of the lead cast, if you would. They're kind of the main characters of the show, and for the most part, I wasn't super invested in Gail. Ended up liking the Warden a lot more than her, and I think Lee Pace as Brother Day really steals the show. I think he's great in this role. I think it was like the best decision casting him in this, because I think he's the best by far. If you didn't know, this show is based on a series of novels actually, by Isaac Asimov called Foundation. Also, it's pretty fun. You see this little tree here? See that? That's actually in one of the episodes. I thought that was cute. That's like a fun little reference. There's a lot that happens in this show. I don't want to spoil anything, because I genuinely think you should watch it. Oh. Hear that? That's gross. Isn't that awful? God. Imagine living like that. So, Foundation starts with the young girl, Gail Dornick, and she lives on this kind of backwards planet where they don't really believe in maths or science. It's like a complete water planet, which is interesting, because I thought at first that it would be just Earth, and like the polar ice caps have melted and all that. It's not actually. It's a completely different planet. It's called Synax. That's fun. And she gets invited to go to Trantor to meet with Harry Seldon, who is a professor at the university. And that's kind of your starting point for the show, is you're following her. You're seeing everything through her eyes. So you see Trantor as this huge cityscape, and it's really cool. This is, what am I going to say? This is the best looking Apple TV Plus show ever, because it's not like a completely clean thing, you know? Like how I was complaining about in Shrinking, everything is completely clean, it looks sanitized. In this, things are dirty, things have age to them. This looks like a place that has been around for a long time, especially the Foundation when you finally get to that. The characters have been there for like 30 years, so there's rust on the lights. Everything looks old, and I think that's great. It looks really good. It's a really great show. Watch it, please. I think that's something this show has over something like Star Wars. Ooh. A lot of Star Wars shows these days feel very sanitized. They're very nothing. This is like the exact opposite. This is like hard-hitting stories that genuinely feel like they matter. I really connected with a lot of the characters. I really liked them. I haven't liked a Star Wars character since fucking, what's his name? The Mandalorian. Yeah. And that's pretty sad. I've never given a shit about Ahsoka. Sorry. I like to Ivanov in Clone Wars. Oh, stop talking about Star Wars, fuck! But yeah, the characters in this have a real personality. They feel like real people. Even, kind of the leaders of Trantor are these clones of this guy named Cleon the First. And there's 3 of them. There's Brother Day in the middle, Brother Dusk, and then Ascending Dawn, Brother Dawn. And I think it makes for a really interesting dynamic between the 3 of them, because they're the same person at different ages. And it really does work to the show's benefit, I think. It's a very interesting show. I think that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't want to spoil it, because I really think this is the one show that I would recommend watching on Apple TV+. And hey, if this video does well, maybe I'll watch some more garbage on Apple TV+. I don't know. I still have a whole season of Foundation to watch, so I'll definitely be watching that anyway. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you like Foundation? Have you seen it? Have you even heard of it? Because they don't advertise it very well. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I guess that's it. Oh, 8 out of 10 for Foundation. See ya.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.